Thanks for tuning in for another episode of Britt and Nick Do the News. The biggest story of the week, the Democratic National Convention. It wrapped up on Thursday after 4 long days, naming Kamala Harris as the Democratic candidate, as well as her vice president, Governor Tim Walz. Some key mentions were that they're going to be focusing on abortion rights, gun safety, and lowering the cost of living. Their main focus, rebuilding the middle class. Brittany, any mentions?
Girl, well, I like all of those positions. Definitely need gun safety. And for sure, let's rebuild the middle class. But I mean, just like any political policy holders, we'll see if they deliver. I mean, they all promise a lot of strong ideas at the beginning. And I know that it's not just as easy as snapping your fingers and making it happen. But when I listen to a lot of what any of these people have to say, be them Democratic or Republican, I don't hear anything except for holding a lighter in the air. I'm there to jam, baby. They got all sorts of people. Who they got? Meg the Stallion, love her. Lil Jon, let's throw it back to high school years. I'm with it. Obamas, they're always a pleasure to hear and see. So, I mean, I don't even know if it's even a convention anymore. It's more like a concert.
Don't forget about Oprah, and also Bill Clinton was there as well. A lot of celebrities and also a lot of anti-Trump sentiment, a lot of hate towards his direction. And for me, I hate when political heads go head to head, just bashing each other. You can't run your campaign just hating on the other and actually gain a favorable vote over it.
100% agreed. I mean, anytime the political season comes around, we see all the stupid campaigns, and it's literally just like slurring the other person, be them true facts, be them fake facts, be them exaggerated. I mean, there's so many different things, but I feel like it's just kind of a grimy way to go about stuff, and definitely trying to get our attention elsewhere. Oh, look, if we're looking at all the bad things this individual does, we won't focus on the things that this person does. Or maybe if I'm rocking along with Kid Rock and the MMA dudes over at the Republican National Convention, you know, maybe I ain't going to worry so much about what Trump's doing or not doing. What I do have an issue with, though, is Tim Walz's son. He has a NVLD, a nonverbal learning disorder. And I guess he was crying at his dad's convention and just saying, that's my dad. And people took it upon themselves to make fun of this young guy, like saying that's not who we want, is some blubbering idiot and this. Well, first of all, that's not who it is. That's the son. Second of all, why would you talk unkindly about people with special needs or learning disabilities? And third of all, it's not giving what you want it to give. They all keep throwing around this term weird, be it Kamala saying that Trump and gang are weird, be it Trump and gang saying that all of them are weird. Doesn't matter. You're all weird, and you're really weird for trying to use the word weird so frequently. It's politics. Of course it's weird.
You know what also is weird? How people were walking around with pretend cups of semen and saying it was J.D. Vance's semen.
Girl, that is nuttier than a squirrel turd. Let me tell you what. Why you would have his real semen or fake semen is beyond me. But I think it was just kind of a whole idea of talking smack to single childless females. It's not giving what you want it to give. Like, you're just holding fake, I don't know, cleanser in a vial. And it's just odd, squad. Stop worrying about what's in their testicles or what isn't. That's foul as hell.
We talked about the celebrity presence, and it was rumored that Beyonce was going to perform in Chicago on Thursday. But you know what? She really wasn't. I wouldn't have enjoyed that show. And I think, just the rumor of that going around might have prompted Trump to post an AI-generated Taylor Swift presidential endorsement of himself. I thought it was funny, but I bet she didn't think so.
Oh, I'm sure not. I don't think it's necessarily as grave as the lines of being on like an adult film site that you were obviously not on, but it's rocking into some sketchy territory. I don't think that's appropriate. And there's a reason he took it down, because he knew his bum was in hot water. You don't want no more shade, sir, please.
No more shade. Also this week, though, Trump sat down with comedian Theovon on his podcast. They discussed very casual topics like the UFC, Trump's son, but they also dug deep on personal issues with substance abuse. Trump talked about his brother and how he personally does not drink alcohol, smoke cigarettes, do drugs because of his brother and what his brother went through and what he was advised not to do by his brother. And then Theovon, he went into the more casual experience of, his struggle with alcohol and cocaine. It got pretty funny, just the fact that he could talk so freely with Trump about it, since Trump had no idea about just doing drugs in general and how they feel. So hearing the two go back and forth was semi-amusing. But they talked about other serious issues like healthcare and just how Trump is for the transparency of the prices of who's charging what and what insurance is covering exactly. This kind of fell under the radar with the Biden presidency, but Trump's about to bring it back.
Hey, you know what? It's good to show people in a realistic light and kind of get an idea of who they are as a real person, but also cover topics involving, the American public, the people, and what we're looking for and what we're not looking for. At the same time, I might lie and say I did dabble in some narcotics, so all of my previous behavior would have a little bit more explanation behind it instead of that was just steady, sober me rocking out. But, I don't know if a lot of people lean on narcotics as an excuse or anything else. So maybe just delete that. But either way, I love Theovon, and I think he's hilarious.
Speaking of drug abuse, 5 were arrested in the death of Matthew Perry, 2 of them being doctors and 1 his assistant. Apparently, these doctors were taking large sums of money. One instance where Matthew Perry gave them $2,000 for a $12 vial of ketamine, as well as Matthew Perry delivering $55K over to the doctors 2 months before his death. On the day of, his assistant is being accused of injecting him several times that day before he got into the hot tub. The levels were said to have been the same as someone under anesthesia. So they're in hot water, to say the least.
Yeah, that's so sad. And I understand that you can get narcotics anywhere. Just because they're legal doesn't mean you cannot access them. But it's a whole nother thing to be giving thousands of dollars to legal medical professionals, well, supposedly legal, and then, dying not too long after that. I mean, these people have to be held accountable. You can't just diagnose things that aren't there or be giving prescriptions for things that would not treat it to start. I mean, and also it's one thing to use ketamine in a controlled, conditional environment under, professional help and guidance, timing and amounts. But it's a whole nother thing to be, I'm just gonna, drink my vodka and do my pills and snort my K and then go into a boiling hot tub. Like it's just not the movement. And if you know that somebody's already kind of struggling, it's just a bad thing to do. These people do need to be held accountable. Apparently the lady's name is Jasmine Sanka, and they call her the ketamine queen of LA because she is so known for distributing ketamine. And some people don't know what ketamine is. It's a dissociative drug. They're, compared to nitrous oxide as well as PCP, angel dust. That's the street name. Some people can get it off of cough syrup, which is DXM. And then, like you were saying, chloroform and diethyl ether. That's stuff that people need to be used when they're being put to sleep. And he had this amount? No, it's unnatural. And these people need to be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law.
Well said, Brittany. When it comes to the use of ketamine, they are experimenting with using it to treat depression, anxiety, and pain. And I kind of back it for a short-term solution. But if you're going to give copious amount of drugs to a drug user, I don't care what they're going through with their mood disorder, they're going to abuse the drug. I've witnessed myself that ketamine has helped people balance them out. So it's hard for me to say no, but also do it in a controlled environment with a professional and don't risk your life.
No, it's not worth it.
In other news, there's a new disease out on the street, something similar to dengue fever. Brittany, do you have the deets?
Yes, girl. It's called Orapuche or Orapush. And it's a pretty serious thing coming on the rise. It can be attributed to being bit by mosquitoes from natural reservoirs where sloths and non-human primates and birds exist. So it's very scary. It's kind of got like fever-like symptoms. Apparently, there is a vaccine, but not enough is known to be able to properly treat it all the way. They're just going to say the same old stuff that they do for everything. You know, you got to wash your hands. You got to stay away from people, stay away from animals. You got to make sure to cover your mouth, your nose, all that type of stuff. When it comes to getting bit, you know, you have to wear longer sleeves, longer stuff, and use bug spray, bug repellent, because it seems to be more definitely an issue concentrated in Africa, where a lot more of these animals exist. But it's still something that can travel just like anything. I mean, we heard about another rise of a disease. What's that? You said monkeypox.
Monkeypox, it's on the loose again. And yes, definitely highly concentrated in Africa at the moment, but it is being declared as a global health emergency. So there is some worry that this is going to be somewhat of a COVID outbreak, but not to alarm anyone, it hasn't gotten to those levels yet. We can't forget that back when COVID was a thing, 2022, there was an outbreak of monkeypox that was very severe. That one was more transmitted sexually, and this one is coming more so from animals, kind of like this disease you're describing.
Yeah, it's so weird. I don't really understand all of it, but I know that it freaks me out because I get bit by mosquitoes a whole bunch, like bad. Fingers crossed that they get everything under control. Till then, I'm going to be using repellent, like always.
Yes, let's lighten it up though. Speaking of monkeys, there's a new 4-part documentary series out on HBO called Chimp Crazy. It's created by the same producer director that did Tiger King, so you know it's going to be good, Eric Good. It focuses on, I would say, average day people owning monkeys, but these people are not average at all. The main focus at the moment is Tanya Haddix, who is obsessed with these chimpanzees. There was this other woman also in the show that was a monkey trainer. Her family grew up in the circus, and she was very close to monkeys, so much so that when there was a premature chimpanzee born at the same time of her own daughter, she would breastfeed the both of them at the same time. Her husband was even interviewed, and you could tell he had PTSD from the incident still, just describing walking in and witnessing this breastfeeding.
Interesting. You know, there was a story a few years back where I think it was a Venezuelan female police officer was breastfeeding a baby because she, you know, they found this baby and the baby was hungry and she knew she could do it, and that's fine. But I don't know, interspecies breastfeeding is a little bit more odd, especially when you haven't discussed that with like other people. Like, did the other scientists think it was okay? Did her husband think it was okay? Like, honestly, I know her baby can't answer, but if I was a baby and I found out about it later on, I don't know if I'd prefer that. I'd be like, dang, I didn't get a womb mate, but now essentially I have to share my my feeding trough with another animal. I don't know. I'm sure it's done in good spirit. You know, obviously she has a heart for animals, but I don't know. Why not just a little sugar glider, man? Like, why would you have a full grown chimpanzee type stuff, you know, in your home? That just, no, maybe a gibbon.
These people love chimps so much. They say they love them more than their own child. It's pretty nuts. So no, I don't think you should have breastfed that monkey. Maybe do a little pump action and get a bottle. Other little focuses in the documentary so far. There's a chimpanzee that we famously saw in several movies named Tonka. There was this movie Buddy that Alan Cummings was in, and he fell in love with Tonka, had a bond with him so much so that he got involved with PETA and stood behind this whole rescuing Tonka.
Girl, I haven't the foggiest, but I will say it's a little creepy. Also, donate your time and money into real starving children that understand what's going on. Personal opinion, but opinions are like buttholes. Everyone's got one.
Oh, yeah, money is being thrown around. This one woman who is breeding these chimps in Missouri. So apparently in Missouri, you can do a lot of things with animals that you can't do other places. But they were selling the chimpanzees for $65,000. And they were also having like chimp parties where you could pay $20K to have a baby chimp show up.
Oh, yeah, sounds very interesting to say the least, I suppose. Yeah, they saw how much we ate up the Tiger King dynasty. So they're like, hey, let's do it again. But instead of big cats, it's monkeys. And we're like, okay, sure. We're just a viewer on the couch here. Let's ride.
I'm down. What else were you viewing this week, Brittany?
Girl, I love my trash TV. To be fair, I have loyalty to 90 Day Fiance and their counterpart series, wherever that may go, which includes The House. I love it. Y'all should tune in if you haven't yet. But also, no, it was the Married at First Sight UK. We all know it's kind of an odd deal to start. I mean, you're meeting someone, you're marrying them, you've never met them, you don't know anything really about them. So one fella, 28-year-old Kieran from Newcastle, thought it'd be a fun time to put in some false teeth and give his bride a ride, mental ride that is, and see how kind she truly is. If she's a person that's shallow as a puddle, or if she's got a lot of love to give and not in a measured way. So I don't know. What would you have done? I would have definitely kind of been taken aback, but I would have said something. I'd be like, those are fake, right? And if they weren't, oh no, egg on my face. But also I would have to say something.
I mean, it's the UK, Brittany. Their teeth already are jacked. So she probably might have expected this from the start. But yeah, good luck to that couple. I hope they can keep things going after being so thrown off from the start. I personally was watching Love is Blind UK, and I enjoy that series just as much as Married at First Sight. I'm at the very end, and I'm literally crying for these girls.
Yeah, you know what? Love is Blind is definitely a cool one. My mom and sisters put me on to that, and very, very interesting. I know we went down the rabbit hole a few seasons ago, and it was definitely interesting. And to see all the spinoffs is pretty wild how far trash TV and reality TV has gotten.
Let's reel it back in to discuss the weather. Brittany, tell us your famous forecast.
Ooh, I don't know if y'all been hearing about it, but in Bangladesh and India, it's some real tragic stuff going on. They have torrential downpours, constant rain, and it's big, bad flooding. In Bangladesh itself, there was 3 million people marooned, which is in essence just displaced because they're saturated by water. Only 2 reported deaths so far, but knee-deep waters entered the homes, and apparently it doesn't show any signs of stopping in the next 24 to 48 hours. They're expecting 3 to 7 more inches of rainfall. 5 major rivers are flowing above danger levels, and they haven't seen this much, they claim, in 20 years. So a lot of it's being attributed to climate change, because we can't use the term global warming, which is fine. But yeah, India, they've actually reported that there have been 12 people that have died from the landslides and the flooding, all the drownings and such. Apparently, India and Bangladesh share a lot of rivers, so they're working together to try to get everyone to safe grounds and to be put back in their respective properties just as soon as they possibly can. So sad to hear that they're getting a whole lot of saturation, because over here, different story. Not too much rain. But it's the temperatures have been dropping. Everyone's gotten on their pumpkin spice kick. And I say, hold up. Don't be premature about it because you know the big sun is hiding right around the corner. And yep, they're saying next week here in North Carolina, we're getting back up into the 90s. So don't put away that sunscreen just yet. Not like I ever do. I put that gin on in the winter. Hello.
Yeah, up in Maryland, they call that fake fall, but it's warming up to that Indian summer. But that's crazy about the flooding in India and Bangladesh. But speaking about out of control water, in Gaza, the sewage and water infrastructure has fallen with the war, and polio has reared its ugly head again.
That's terrifying, girl. I mean, there's already enough death and disaster over there that now they have plagues coming through the water sources. I mean, you think it couldn't get any worse, and yet here it is. Once again, folks, I'm not saying get every single vaccine necessary, but when we have ones for polio, please get it taken care of because there's obviously still outbreaks going on. Monkeypox, polio, dengue fever. I mean, we're not out of the woods by a mile, man. So we really have to keep our P's and Q's up. So I'm sad to see it. You know what else I'm sad to see and sad to hear about? Blake Lively, y'all. You know, one, talent, whatever. Two, all right, I'm just done about hearing about her plugging her products. You know, I guess the movie It Ends With Us is supposed to be revolving around rather domestic violence and the issues that come with that. As if it isn't a huge issue in and of itself. Homegirls just keep prattling on. So what does the media do? They keep on prattling on about it. So it ends with us, her, the discussion. Done, baby. You're done. I don't care if it's nepotism or you married someone else that's famous or whatever. Don't care. Goodbye, sweetheart. I was also going to bring up, not to make light of any situation. All situations are very serious, except for Blake Lively and her hair products. But I don't know. I'm getting a little, I don't want to use the word tired, but maybe frustrated of hearing about the war in Ukraine and Russia. I know it's a big deal, but it seems to be just more sad news. Did you hear any new sad news about the sad news already?
Yeah, it wasn't so sad, but Ukraine launched its biggest drone attack to date on Moscow. Moscow sat there and shot the drones out of the sky. There was no damage, no casualties, and people were just walking by, conducting business as usual. But still, the war continues and progresses as such.
It's too much, man. I think, what can we do exactly? But it's just so sad, be it in Palestine and Israel, Ukraine and Russia. I mean, there's all sorts of hotbeds of activity throughout the world. And if it's not us trying to kill one another, it's Mother Nature trying to kill us too. Or perhaps some of these diseases. It's no bueno, but that's the thing. You gotta know that these things exist and you gotta be prepared. So how can we prepare? We have life insurance, we have health insurance. All these types of things. You got to have a nest egg because who knows what could happen next? Life throws tragedies your way. So how can we best be prepared, girl, other than just regular health insurance?
Well, let's focus back in America. Apparently, we're not preparing for the future. 78% of Americans have $50,000 or less in a retirement fund, and 37% have nothing at all saved up for their retirement. It's pretty nuts. And also what's nuts is Governor Tim Walz taking on $130K from his retirement to fund his child's student loan. I think that's a nice gesture, sir, but saddling her with a possible big medical bill in the future when you're too old and have no money left from this doesn't seem to work out so much. So, America, please stash the money away. We cannot rely on Social Security, and we got to think about our future a little bit better. If you want to help your child out, start a mutual fund or some kind of college funding vehicle like the Maryland 529. Plan for them ahead instead of taking from what's yours already. Not only are we not saving money, but we're spending money that we don't have. Apparently, 45% of parents are willing to go in debt just to take their kids to Disneyland.
Wow. Not worth it. I prefer Busch Gardens and Kings Dominion if you're on the East Coast. Kings Island is a great option as well. Same with Cedar Point. But I digress. Yeah, it's sad the lengths will go, the debt, America, land of credit, trying to outdo the Joneses. It's all just kind of a weird rat race when at the same time we don't have any true savings. We don't have any nest egg. To that point, though, it's a little harder to get a nest egg when they don't pay people probably what they should and give them the resources that they probably should. So 6 of one, half dozen of another. But I will say this, Disney World is virtually mosquito free.
Is it
so no chance of getting dengue fever there, I suppose.
Is it though? Going down in the swamp tours of Orlando, I'm pretty sure there's got to be some swarms.
Oh, it is. As soon as you step foot off of Disney-owned property, they're going to murk you. But while you're in the covenant of the mouse, no other mosquitoes can get you.
Speaking of Disney and murking, did you hear about the couple that went down to celebrate their honeymoon, and the wife had visited Disney and requested to a restaurant she was eating at to not have any dairy or nuts. She's extremely allergic. The server told her this was not a problem. We don't have that in this food. Unfortunately, Amy Tungswin died. Very sad, but her husband came back with a vengeance. He was trying to sue Disney over this, which, I mean, it's Disney, so that's probably, the first thought on your mind is let's get some money from these people. But also, Disney was like, no, you can't sue us. There was some kind of small in fine print writing that, they could have used to backed out of a lawsuit. But, after hearing some backlash from the public, they're taking a side step and waiving the arbitration and moving forward with the court case, being a little more sensitive and hearing the guy out and coming to some agreement.
I think it's better that they do that. I mean, Disney's already in enough hot water for some of the choices they've made over the years. And some of the choices they haven't made. It's been a combination of both, but I think it would be in good standing and proper order that they do consider this case and they do give him some money for her tragic passing. With that also being said, if I was the type of person that had medical issues to that level, I would constantly travel with an EpiPen. I would constantly have medicine on deck, ready to rock just in case, because, you cannot rely on the competency of other individuals. You cannot put your life in their hands, especially when they're not medical professionals. They're seasonal workers at Disney World in Orlando, Florida. I don't know why you take a honeymoon there anyway. Once again, not for me to judge, though I just did. But, kind of know that the potential might be there. And once again, God rest her soul. And I hope her husband can get some money. And good on Disney for doing the right thing, because it was their misstep. If they indeed informed the server, it should have never happened.
Let's brighten it up with some other news. The second largest diamond was found in Botswana this week. It was mined by the Canadian firm Lucara, and it was 2,492 carats.
Golly. That's a big boy right there. All natural too, because these lab diamonds been coming up in favor because everyone's fearful of the blood diamond association with the mining and the killing and all that serious biz that comes with attaining gemstones. But I think a lot of people also miss the point that these lab diamond producers are not safety oriented. They don't care about what emissions they're putting in the air. They don't give their people reasonable safety stuff either. I'm not going to say they use child labor because they want it done right as opposed to an off-kilterly sewn t-shirt. But don't think that the price is reduced so low without good reason, rather bad reason. They're treating people unfairly, still have them in some devastating conditions, and they're also polluting the earth. But good on Botswana. Hopefully they can get some loot for their government instead of, being overtaken by De Beers or whomever these folks are. But how do we get to the diamond anyway? We got to date a little to start, right? Trying to find Mr. Right to give us Mr. Right diamond.
Yes, ma'am. It's that time. The newest segment, dating advice. I've been dating a man for 8 months. We were on vacation together, and while laying in bed, I look over and see that he's on Tinder. He said he was just curious about the dating scene and had no intentions on meeting up with anyone. He apologized and said it was a mistake and he would never do it again. Part of me wants to believe him, but most of me is like, get out now. We have 6 days left on the trip. Brittany, what would you do?
Oh, Nicole, you know what I'm doing. I'm buying a ticket out of there. Bye-bye. You need to feel my presence by not feeling it at all. Understand that I'm serious and we are not serious. So best to make tracks now before my heart gets involved and maybe some diamonds come into play when I know you're not the right guy for me or probably anybody. What would you do, girl?
I mean, after 8 months, I don't even need a title. Like, we should be somewhat serious, especially if we're taking a trip and we are in bed and you're on Tinder. This is absolutely insane. I would politely accept whatever bullshit excuse he had to give me, and I would step on over to the all-inclusive bar, have my fill of drink and food, enjoy the rest of the sunshine and the water. And guess what? As soon as we get home, I'm getting the F out of there. He's going to be a cheater. He should not be on Tinder at all. Next.
100% agreed. See, in this scenario, you're treating yourself still to the trip. So that's good. You aren't punishing yourself because the dude's a D-bag. See, in my scenario, I'm kind of punishing myself. The trip's cut short. But at the same time, I don't even want to be around that energy. Like, I'm just saying, you want the girls in wherever we're vacationing at? Feel free, because I'm going to take my pick of the guys back home where we originally came from. Pound sand, loser.
Dude should have just been more discreet like every other male. Use your eyeballs and get off of the dating app, especially when you're kind of with someone. Use your brain.
Yeah, using the wrong head on this one. But isn't that, constant for them?
Oh, do you know what else? McDonald's coming out with like a McChicken, but it's like the Big Mac. It's got 2 of those chicken patties. And I do like a McChicken, but I'm thinking, can I even get my mouth around that thing?
I don't know, but if the price is right, I'm damn sure gonna try. Just kidding, you whores.
That's all we got for you this week. Thanks for tuning in.
See you next time.